Hello, 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 hello. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. We are streaming on about 3 different platforms. So we are on YouTube under Patrice L. Stewart. We are on Facebook in our private group, the Tax Credit Academy group. And then I believe that she also put me on my personal page on Facebook. So I think you guys got an extra today because this was really only for the private group. But Catherine, my assistant, got you guys on. So
okay.
Let's roll. So today we have the beautiful, lovely attorney Joy Hunt.
Hello, everyone.
And we are going to be going over LLC. So we are streaming on our streaming platform, which is StreamYard. So as far as I know, you all have to actually accept to be able to comment unless you're on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, we can see your comments. If you are on Facebook, you would actually have to accept the StreamYard. My assistant, Catherine's going to put the link here out in the comments for you now. So that way you can accept it. If you accept it, then we can see your comments and I can answer your questions. If not, you would need to go over to the YouTube channel and make your comments there. Or if you have a question there, because I can see Patricia. Hey, Patricia, how are you on YouTube? I can see comments coming in from YouTube, okay? So I just want to make that disclosure because we're not streaming on our, on my normal live platforms on Facebook. So we're on the streaming app and you all have to actually agree to that, all right? So let's just go ahead and get started. We're on here for 1 hour. And so, again, if you have questions, please go over to YouTube under Patrice L. Stewart and we can see your questions from there. All right. So I will go ahead and get started and ask Attorney Joy, one of the biggest questions that I always get on my feed when we're doing these kind of lives is, when do you know? So what is an LLC? Let's just go there. What is an actual LLC?
Okay, so an LLC stands for a limited liability company, which is a business entity. When you are starting a business, you have 2 entities that you can choose from, either an LLC or a corporation. An S Corp is going to be a tax election. It's not actually a business entity. So you would form either your LLC or your C Corp, and then you would choose for the LLC or the C Corp to be taxed as an S Corp. But just to keep things real simple, an LLC is going to be a business entity. Now, this is why you need an LLC. I'm a visual person. So this is you, okay? So let's just say you want to start a business, okay? You want to sell books, you want to do eyelashes, you have a catering company, whatever it is. You personally have things. You may have a car, you may have money in the bank, and you may own a home, okay? So although your business has nothing, you have something. So, hey, I'm new, I'm not really making any money yet. I don't want to, waste the money and, forming an LLC. I'm going to wait until my business is making money. Here's the problem. When you go out and you get a DBA, doing business as an assumed name, when you just go out here doing business as yourself or as a sole proprietor, you are exposing your house, your home, and your car to any kind of business creditor or debtor. Okay, so if I am doing lashes, there was just on Instagram, a lash tech was doing lashes. The girl had contacts in. The glue melted the contacts on the girl's eye, and now she's blind. Okay, so she sues me. Hopefully I have some kind of business insurance, but whatever the business insurance doesn't cover, I'm on the hook. Since Joy is doing business, then she can now come get my house, my car, my money in the bank. Okay, so we never want to do business as yourself. You are exposing way too much of what you've worked hard to obtain to just to give it away, because something is going to go wrong in business. Period, point blank. It's not if it will, something will go wrong in business. Okay, so the first thing you want to do before you get your logo, before you get your little website, you want to form an LLC to protect you. Can your people see my cup?
So I was gonna.
Oh, okay. I'm just jigging something.
Yeah, but yes.
Okay.
On that side, because the phone is on. That
Okay.
side.
Okay. Let me move my camera. Okay. So.
Nope. Okay, yeah, not a phone.
Okay.
There you go. Perfect.
So this is you. This is your car. This is your personal things. If you're doing business by yourself, you're exposing all of this. Okay. So my Instagram people, this is you. This is you over here. Okay. So the reason why you want to form an LLC is for this reason. When you form an LLC or a corporation, whatever is your choice, but an LLC has less requirements that you have to do annually, so it's kind of easier if you're more like a busy person and don't have time to keep up with all the having minutes, the formalities, blah, blah, blah. When you form an LLC, you now have another entity, okay? So my Instagram Live people, it's now 2 of y'all, okay? So when it's 2 of you guys, this is the person who's doing lashes, okay? So let's just say I have a brand new business. I just started. I may have $500 in the account. This is Joy. I have a house, car, a lot of money in the bank. This is my new business. Now, if I were to go out and I did the lashes wrong, she sued me, blah, 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 she would not have access to this. She would only have access to what the LLC owns. So whatever's in the bank, any kind of cars, whatever this LLC owns, this is all the person can get. So this is why you never want to do business as a DBA. I know it's quicker, it's cheaper, but in the long run, it's not cheaper because you are now exposing everything you have to the creditor. So you need to form an LLC, one, to protect what you have. The second reason why you want to form an LLC is because it reserves your business name in the state that you're in. Okay, so if you want to reserve your name in the US of A, you need a trademark. That's going to be about a $1,500 price tag. Takes about 9 months to a year to get a trademark. But if you want to make sure that no one in your state uses your business name, then an LLC reserves your business name in the state that you're in. The third reason why you want to form an LLC is business credit. Okay, so you want to start establishing business credit. If you've been in business for a while on your own, you know that getting loans, getting debt, it ties up your debt to income ratio. It can really take a ding on your personal credit. It can cause your personal credit just to go low. It's just a lot when you're always a personal guarantor on something and it's stressful. Okay, so with business credit, you can start establishing business credit in the LLC name. Okay, whenever you're applying for loans, they're going to ask you how long have you been in business, meaning how long has the LLC been in business. Okay, so you may have been cooking barbecue ribs out of your truck for the past 5 years, but you just formed your LLC this year. So so technically your LLC has only been in business for 1 year, although you've been doing the same thing for 5 years. So you want to be able to have keep your business incorporation years and be able to establish business credit with the LLC. Having an LLC also makes you look credible. Okay, so if you're looking for investors, you want someone to invest in some money, they want to invest in a company, not in Kiki and them business, because Kiki and them business gonna lose the money. Okay, but if I call it stay ready. So if you stay ready to don't have to get ready, I already have my LLC in place. You want to invest in me? Perfect. Here's the business name. Here's the business bank account. Do everything like what happens in business. Is Walmart functioning on a DBA? No. Is Amazon functioning on a DBA? No. So you want to make sure that you protect yourself with your LLC. It's going to reserve your business name. You can start establishing business credit, and it also makes you look credible, like a real business. So that's right, like a real business. And you want to be treated like a real business, so you have to first, go out there and, to demand that respect. I have an LLC, I have a corporation, blah, blah, blah. So that's my little spew on, why you really need to have your LLC first. Now, if you go out and you get your logo, you get your little Instagram page, you get your packaging and all that cute stuff, you start making some money, and then you go get an LLC, well, that name may be taken. Okay, so now the name you want is taken. So now you have to go through a whole rebranding U-Haul. So now I got to get a new name. I got to get new packaging, depending on how long you've been in business, or something called goodwill. Like your name means something. If there was a McDonald's and then Leroy's hamburger joint, where are you going to go? You're going to go to McDonald's because that name name means something. So if you're building your name, and now you got to rebrand, change your name, your clients may not know that, hey, it's the same company. So you don't want to, do all the other things and get your LLC last. You want to get your LLC first so that your logo, your website, all your branding material can be cohesive, and you don't have to, change your name because your LLC name is now taken.
Right. So another question, but is I'm not going to ask that question because we're not talking about business credit, right? But you mentioned it, so they always love to try to jump in with it. But what I want to ask is, so what are the benefits of a company having an LLC and establishing the business credit under the LLC versus under as a sole proprietor or a self-employed entrepreneur? Like, there's benefits to that, and why we always say, because I stress this a lot on my channel, so I'm so glad you stated that, because everything you said is what I say to them all the time. And you said it the same way. So I love it. But because people say all the time, like, well, I could still set up a company, I could still have a bank account with being a sole proprietor or self-employed. So we want them to understand the reason why you're saying set up an LLC. And then I'll just put this disclaimer out there too. Today we are talking about LLC. Joy and I will be doing more series where we will go over corporation. We will go over S Corp. We're not going over all of these topics today, you all. We're not going to go over into business credit building. Today we're focusing on LLCs, all things about LLCs, the facts about LLCs, in and outs about LLCs, okay? So we can't get everything in this one session, but we will be back.
Right.
So, Joy, let's explain that, what that benefit is of you pretty much putting everything in the LLC name, because I tell them this all the time. My house is in my LLC. The car that I drive is under my LLC. So people don't understand why I don't personally put it on my name, and why I stress having a company and creating a company and creating a business. So can you go over that, being an attorney? Maybe they'll listen.
So what you want to do is you want to try to establish as many layers between a creditor and you person, high net worth, or you have assets. Let's say you have rental properties, you have vehicles for your business, you have vehicles for yourself, you have your home. You are really a walking target, meaning, how I know back in the day, whenever you saw like a big 18-wheeler truck, everyone's like, "Ooh, if I get hit, I'm gonna get paid." Like, you are really walking around, I would call it like a cash cow, okay? So it's something where if you were to do something, they can get your assets, okay? So if I were to get into a car accident and I hurt someone, they could then come after my car, my house, my whatever I have, jewelry, paintings, art, whatever. So you can put different assets in LLC. That's what they're for. So whether you're doing business in your LLC, whether you want to set up an LLC for a holding company where it's just going to hold the assets. So you can set up an LLC and it will just hold your home, meaning but you have to own the home, okay? You can't be paying a mortgage on it because the bank owns the home if you're paying a mortgage on it. But if you own your vehicles, if you own property and real estate and you put it in a holding company, and that holding company is not doing any kind of business with anyone, if you were to personally get sued, they cannot get those things because you don't personally own them. So if you were to get sued personally and you own something, the person can come after any assets that you have. business credit wise, or why you should put things in an LLC, is to protect them. That's just another layer that they have to get to those things. Because once your business starts growing, once you start booming, you're going to start acquiring things, and you're going to be a walking target, a sitting duck, because people always want to get paid. Okay, whether it is, you may not be at fault, okay? But if people think you have money, they will file a lawsuit. And the first thing the attorney is going to do is, assess what assets you had. And the second they get to doing, they dig in and they see that you properly planned for them. Like, boo, I don't own nothing. I may look good, but I personally don't own anything. So come on, what you want to get? These flip-flops, come on, because all my good stuff, I don't own. I have access to it. It's in a different company. And then once they realize, oh, she don't have anything, the lawyer's going to go away, because they only get paid based on what they recover from you.
Exactly.
So
I'm so glad you brought up that holding company. This is a topic that I have really been wanting to share with the community for a while. So I'm so glad that you shared that, or you brought that up. So briefly, if we can, what would be the benefit? Because this is one of the biggest things that when I was reading about the holding companies, because that's something I'm considering now doing, is doing the holding company to hold the assets, right? Because I'm getting ready to own my house and just pay off the little balance that I have. So I'll have the deed soon, right?
Okay.
But I was looking at some of that, saying like, it should, you have to start the holding company with a specific dollar amount, or it's a certain amount of assets you kind of have to carry. So I could have been reading that wrong. That's why I wanted to get you a professional on here. But what would be, so say, let's just use me an example, right? If I own my house, I own my car. What would be the benefits of me having a holding company to manage my LLC? Because pretty much the holding company would be here, right? And then the LLC would be under the holding company or connected. You kind of share that or explain that for us.
I'm a visual person. Okay, so you can do it different ways. So you could have it. I'll post the notes. You could have it to where, and excuse my nails, there's time for them to be done. So you can have the holding company here, and the holding company could own the other LLC, or they could just be two separate LLCs. Okay. You don't have to own one another. But this is the thing. So if you own assets, you really shouldn't, let me say it like this. You have to do what's best for you in your financial situation. Okay, so depending on what you're trying to do, depends on how you need to own your assets. If you are trying to get a loan, if you are trying to get some financing, and you need to look, you need to have a high net worth personally, they're not going to look at your business, it's you personally, then you don't want to remove the assets out of your name, okay? If you don't need to have a high net worth personally for whatever you're trying to apply for, then you want to have a separate LLC hold the assets. Hold just means that the LLC will own the assets. It's a holding company because that LLC is going to do no business. It doesn't have any clients, no contracts, it does nothing but own LLC. So there's no way that this holding company can be caught up in a lawsuit because it's not doing anything. So any kind of assets, a trademark is an asset. So you're going to trademark your business name, that's an asset. Beyonce has trademarked her name, Blue Ivy's name. Her record label doesn't own it. She doesn't own it. She has a separate holding company that owns those trademarks. So if she were to ever get sued, you go sue her music record label, you sue anything, you cannot get that trademark. Okay, what if we sue Beyonce and you now own the name to Beyonce? She can't use her name. You can now go market that name. So you want to make sure that, any asset that you want to kind of keep as far away from the creditors, you can put it in a separate LLC. So trademarks, copyrights, vehicles, homes, jewelry, paintings, all these things can be put in a holding company. If you have a business that is asset heavy, okay, so I have a dealership, we own all the cars. The cars are going to be in one LLC. We will lease them to the LLC doing business. If you have a trucking company and you own multiple trucks, you are a walking lawsuit waiting to happen, okay? So you want to have one LLC own the trucks, have a lease agreement between the holding company and the LLC doing business, and how you would lease your truck from a car dealership. The LLC doing business will pay the holding company a monthly fee to lease your truck, lease your van, whatever, so that the LLC can use it. So if your truck got into an accident, the LLC that the accident got into is not the same LLC that owns the truck. So they can't take that asset. So it's about setting up layers and barriers between you and the creditor and whatever it is that you own.
I love that. See, we got to do a whole live strictly on
holding company.
Trucking.
I think so.
Well, even with the trucking, because I have a lot of trucking clients, and we're going to do a live strictly
for trucking.
On that.
I like that.
Yes, because everything that you said, strictly for the trucking company industry.
Okay.
That's golden.
Okay.
There are so many people out here that are starting these businesses because, like we said, everybody's on social media. Start this and start that.
Everyone started a trucking company. I farm at least 3 a week. I'm like, what is going on? Why y'all want to own these trucks? Like, don't own it. That's just, gas going high. But hey.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why the two of us are on here today. Experienced, experts in our fields. And this is what we are trying to relay. You all have to start listening to professionals and experts in your field.
Right.
You're not listening to my cousin, so-and-so said do this, and so-and-so said start this. And that is the reason why so many of you all are failing in your businesses, or why your businesses aren't growing, why you're not moving, why you're stagnant, why your personal credit is drained, right?
Right.
You heard Joy talk about that. That's the reason why we have companies and why we're set up as an LLC, a corporation, a non-for-profit. I stress this to you all the time, right? I've been saying this for 10 years on Facebook as to the importance of separating yourself from business. So if you guys are in the trucking industry, and did you just hear that? Did you just hear what Joy said? And that's the thing is, a lot of you all do not understand the business aspects, the protection aspect. You're always focusing on the glitz and the glamour of the logo and the website or getting the truck. But then if you don't have insurance for it, or you're not properly set up or have the contracts or things like that, then you're going to mess yourself up in the long run, right? So that's part of what we're doing here today. If you guys are just tuning in, my name is Series Llc. If you're new to my channel, I'm on with attorney Joy Hunt. We are talking about all things LLCs. So we are streaming. I know you are seeing this platform through YouTube and Facebook. Facebook, we can only see your comment if you agree and you click the link in the comments that allows StreamYard to be able to use permission to have your name and your profile picture show. Or else if you comment, it will just say Facebook user, which is not a problem. I would recommend going on YouTube, though. My YouTube channel is Patrice L. Stewart. We can see your comments on YouTube. If you guys have any questions right now at this point, we'll open the floor up for you to have questions. TikTok, I'm not really on here today. I just really allowed you all to view it. So if you have a question, I would recommend you going to Patrice L. Stewart YouTube channel and typing your question in there. So does anyone have a question regarding anything that Attorney Hunt just went over? I'm going to go through and just see what we have here. So I answered that one. Miss Toot Toot, I'm not sure if you're still on here. You said, but you have access to the business. Can they go after your business? So I'm not sure when you came in. You made that comment at 12:18, about 10 minutes ago. I think Joy kind of went over that. But in a nutshell, Joy, I think she was talking about when you were saying, how to when you separate the business, or if someone tries to sue you from the business. I guess she's saying, but you have access to the business. Can they go after the business itself? But maybe let's just recap that part.
So just because you have access to the business, once again, This is you, and this is the business. You are two separate entities, okay? So they are not merged as one. Here's how they get merged as one. If you do not follow the corporate formalities of the LLC. So forming the LLC is step number one. But now you're going to have to act like you're an LLC. So number one, you need to have a business bank account in the business name. Number two, you need to only be swiping business funds out the business bank account. Okay, so nails, lashes, haircuts, all that stuff should not be coming out the business account. If it looks like you're just using the business account as a piggy bank, then they can do something called pierce the corporate veil, meaning they can say, well, this really isn't a real business. This is just you, like an alter ego of you. And so, yes, then they would have access to things. If you don't do things like every LLC, you have to file some kind of annual report with your state, saying, hey, I'm an active LLC. If you don't keep your LLC active, then they're going to say, well, you're not really an LLC. This is just you operating under this business. If you aren't keeping enough money in the bank to fund your business. So if your business is always negative, a business needs to have working capital. Not saying that there's a minimum amount of money that you have to have in the account, but the account needs to at least have a dollar balance to say that I'm a business account. Okay. So if you're not really running it like a business, then a person could come in and pierce the corporate veil and try to get whatever assets that they are trying to get. So you need to make sure that when you set your LLC up and then you're running it like an LLC.
Right. And then I want to just chime in from the tax and, business strategy side of things. Another reason why I always tell you all to set this business up. If you need to do certain things, like I am a tax and business strategist, but I'm also an online coach and I'm a content creator. So because of that, because I get my hair done, I'm getting my makeup done, I'm hiring a film crew. That is a business write-off. That's a business tax write-off for me. So like Joy said, you as an everyday person, you can't just go swipe your nails and your hair. Like she said, that's going to look like you're using the business for personal things. But in my case, right, because I'm actually an online coach and I'm doing this and for certain things, I have to have my makeup done, my hair done, my wardrobe. That is a business expense and a business write-off for me. Correct. So at that point, I'm able to use what I talked to you all about, right? I have my Divvy credit card, right? Our business credit card. So I'm able to use my Divvy card and I can swipe to get my hair done for the day for the content creation. When I had my makeup done last week for Thursday, I swiped to get my makeup done, right? I swiped to get my hair done. I swiped to have that videographer come in because it's part of my business. And I can show and prove that, and I have that on the business expenses. But that is the reason why we're always focusing on teaching you the proper way to utilize your business and take advantage of the legal tax write-off as a business owner. But just like Joy said, if you're not doing that, you as an average person, you cannot do that.
Right.
You cannot, as they call it, is co-mingling your funds.
Right.
You have personal and business assets mixing, right? But when you set things up properly and you're educated and you strategize, that's why we do tax and business strategy, right? That is how you're able to take advantage of the business rules in the tax code, but also the tax advantages of being a business owner, okay? So we do have a couple of questions down here, Joy. So Janet says, I'm a little confused on holding companies. Janet, don't worry. We'll come on another day and talk specifically about holding companies. I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of information with what Joy was talking about. So it's okay if you're a little confused on that, because that's a totally different topic on its own. So definitely stay tuned with us with that, unless, Joy, you wanted to say something else, but I think we should, yeah. So Melanie says, what is the best entity tax status, S Corp or C Corp? Okay. So
if you are not making six figures, it doesn't make sense to be an S Corp, because there's going to be additional administrative costs. You're going to have to, one, be on payroll. and run those payroll taxes every 2 weeks, paying the IRS your FICA. So, I mean, if your business can't sustain that cash flow, then you don't need to be an S Corp. You're also going to have a separate tax return for the business, which will be additional bookkeeping, additional tax prep fees. So unless your business is making six figures, the self-employment tax that you're paying as being an LLC is not going to be outweighed by the additional cost. So until I know on Instagram, everyone's like, S Corp, baby. There are rules and regulations to an S Corp, and the first one is payroll. So if you are still, robbing Peter to pay Paul, moving money around, you are not meant to be an S Corp. So I would say wait till you're making about six figures, because you're going to have additional payroll costs, ADP, paycheck, processing fees, additional bookkeeping fees, tax returns, it's more things. So I always say wait till you're making about six figures. What do you say, Patrice?
So it depends. It depends. I personally, I've set up S Corps if they're at least making, I'll say, when we say making, we're talking about revenue, not your sales. We're talking about revenue. So I always say at minimum, at least 50,000 or more, like you said. It to me, again, it would depend on the business. And I do share this again on the channel. So Melanie, one thing when we're having these kind of conversations, I never like to throw out like a formal question, like a formal answer, kind of like Joy said, it really depends. And also remember, as a business owner, every single one of us has our own idea for our business and goal, right? So I don't know what your business is. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what kind of money you're making. So there's no way for us to really tell you what's the best entity. Whether it's an S Corp or a C Corp, you really need to sit down with myself or Joy and have like an actual consultation. We can talk, learn a little bit more about your business, your strategy, your goals, and then that will ultimately determine how you should be set up. You get what I'm saying? But that's, on a nutshell, Joy pretty much said everything, because with the S Corp, you do have to be serious in business, and you definitely have to be able to understand and know payroll, and like she said, the cost with payroll and things like that. So a lot of people like to jump out and talk about that S Corp, but no one online is telling you all the real facts of how the S Corp works and what stipulations go with that. Like she said, everyone's just social media posting, and that's again why we're here. We're debunking a lot of these myths that you guys are sharing on social media every day that are not really being told. Okay, so the next question is from She Rose. When you have an LLC, new home-based business, what can you write off on the taxes and what documentation is needed? Okay, She Rose, that is not a conversation that we'll be having today. Again, tax write-offs and deductions are not a one-size-fits-all. Everybody does not write off the same thing. So that is not a conversation that we'll be going over today. If I took a business coaching or a course before the LLC was established, the course taught me how to get the LLC. Can I write that off even though the LLC was established after I took the course? So in a nutshell, that's possible. I can't say for sure because it will also depend on the tax year that you took the course. So let's say you took the course in 2020, you can't write that off now in 2022, right? So it's certain time frames and stipulations when you're preparing for your taxes, and then when you're filing the actual corporation taxes. This is again why we do tax strategy, tax planning, right? Because when you're a business, you can't just file taxes at the last minute like a personal tax return. Business owners need to be serious, and we actually have a plan, right? So for me, I even have shared that with you all. When I do things, I plan ahead. So like last year for my annual meeting, I rented a mansion for my birthday, right? But my whole birthday trip was my annual meeting. You get what I'm saying? So I planned that. So even though I spent $12,000 for the week of my birthday, it was all a business expense because I planned ahead, right? So I was celebrating my birthday, but I also was able to write it all off because I did everything through the business. Right. So that's what we talk about when we're talking about planning and strategy. It's different in business. So that again will be another topic kind of offhand, offsite, offline that we would have to go into to give you actual facts on that. BMO says, can a vehicle be totally written off under an LLC? Okay, now y'all getting into some tax stuff. You looking at the social media with the Section 179 code, and it's a whole lot to that.
Right. So it's a whole lot, and then there are limits to how much you can take off, per year. So no, you're not going to Mercedes, dropping $230 for a G-Wagon, and then deducting $230 in the same tax year. No, that's not happening.
That's not how it's happening.
No.
Yeah. So BMO again will that in a nutshell, like Joy just said, that no, depending on probably the vehicle you're talking about. No, what a lot of people don't understand is that Section 179 code is really, really, really for commercial. Like if you were buying a commercial van, let's say you wanted to do delivery services and you're buying a commercial van, that's one thing, or a delivery van or a passenger van. That has a totally different tax write-off than you buying a G-Wagon, right? And that's what everybody puts on social media is the G-Wagon. You're not writing that whole G-Wagon off.
No.
You know what I'm saying? But if you have a commercial passenger van that is delivering for people, or you have a delivery company and it's in between that 6,000 to 14,000 pounds, now that is the case where you are actually writing the car off. So again, these people put things out and they're not really giving you all the real facts
right.
of it, throwing things to get you on to their social media pages. So Melanie says, thank you. Great. This has been helpful. Angel Network, have a conference where I'm a guest speaker and I will be selling my book. I paid for my accommodations out of my business account. Is this an example of what you're referring to of having my LLC? Yes. That's a prime example of what we're talking about. When you're going to events, you're being a speaker, you have a book, you have a product. So yes, you are able to utilize your business account for those kind of expenses, for traveling.
Right.
Yep. So yes, that's what we're talking about, Angel. Now, does anybody else have any questions or specific questions regarding the LLC, the setup of it for Attorney Hunt? Because I want to utilize Attorney Hunt. I talk to y'all all the time about taxes. So we could talk about taxes on another live. I really want you to get the best, the most out of this conversation with having Attorney Hunt here available for you. So again, we're talking about all things LLCs. We kind of hit a little bit on, the business write-offs, being able to set up business credit under an LLC. An LLC gives you asset protection.
Right.
It separates you from the business. Separates you, the personal owner, from the business. And then BMO says, I was referring to a delivery van or box truck from my business. Okay, yeah, it's possible, BMO. It's still no way for me to tell you 100% because I don't know anything about you, the company, the business, the goals. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole lot more than just asking a question and saying that yes or no. So that's still a formal question that I can't say yes or no to on this live. Angel says, Joy, so where do we find the annual report that needs to be submitted to the states?
It depends. Whatever is the name of, normally it's the Secretary of State for some states, or whoever is the entity in your state that regulates your businesses. So in Texas, it's the Texas Comptroller's Office. That's who regulates the LLC. So you can always go to your Secretary of State website where you form the LLC, and then if they don't have the information of there, they will then have what entity or what company or what division of them in that state regulates the LLC. But it's going to be a form you have to submit online. 90% of the states require it to be annually. Some states have a certain a certain deadline. Other states are going to be a year, like your year anniversary for your LLC. And then a couple of states, they have a 2-year, like every 2 years or biannually, they require you to file this report. But I would first go to your Secretary of State website, and they would have the information as to what division is actually regulating this LLC annual report. It may be called a franchise tax report, annual report. Different states call it different things. Or you can just Google, LLC annual report in your state, and that's just also sends you to the website. But make sure it's a government website. It's not like a regular business website. It's going to be a government agency who's requiring this report.
Right. Because I told you guys, pay attention to that when you're doing Google.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you're not clicking on an ad.
Right.
At the top, it will say ad. Usually you'll get about 2 or 3 lines that are ads first.
Right.
And then that very first or second, the third, fourth, or fifth link are usually where you start actually seeing the links to the website.
Right.
So, like Joyce said, definitely Google in your state. Like she said, annual filing or incorporating or setting up an LLC. And it should take you to most of them are Secretary of State websites, like she said. But that's going to be your best bet. But also make sure it's the actual state website. State websites usually are, .gov. Well, if you're dealing with federal, it's .gov. But sometimes they're .org. Sometimes ours is .sos, which is Illinois Secretary of State. So another thing that I tell you guys is to Google your Secretary of State office, because your Secretary of State office will, at minimum, direct you if it's not there.
Correct.
Most of the time, you file on your Secretary of State's office, but like Joyce said, in some states it's a different name. Mm-hmm. But your Secretary of State office will definitely take you to where you need to go.
Right.
Patricia says, where do we go to set up the LLCs for free? Patricia, you'll get that in the class, in the workshop. Remember, we give you some gems on here, but not everything, baby, okay? We got a workshop coming up soon, so you'll get the freebies in the workshop. She Rose, what happens if you get an LLC, but your business does not make profit the first year?
Nothing. There's no requirement that you have to make a profit to have an LLC. You do need to file your LLC annual report, whether you made a profit, didn't do anything with it. You have to file an LLC report with your state so that state reserves that name. If you don't file anything, they think that the LLC is not active, and then they will just make your LLC inactive. So you just need to file your annual report, but nothing happens if you don't make any money in your business.
Right. And especially if you're a single member LLC, remember, you guys are filing your taxes on your personal tax return on that Schedule C form.
Right.
If you're a multi-member LLC, then you all still will be filing the income, whether it's an income or a loss, on the personal taxes as well. So like she said, it's either you will be filing 0 if you're going to file the taxes or claiming the company, or like she said, at minimum, you'll be updating your records with the state every year. So if you didn't make a formal profit, like she said, it's not required that you have to make a profit. And most businesses, to be honest, the government, the IRS knows that. So I'll say that the IRS knows on average it takes businesses 5+ years to see the actual profit. A lot of businesses are running in the red the first couple of years, which is another reason why we're on here. We're trying to make sure that that's something that you're not doing, right? We don't want you running in the red. The whole point of you being in business is to establish and make money. So this is part of why we're having these conversations today. Is it okay to use business credit to buy a work vehicle from an auction? If that is your business. So, you can't just use business credit to just buy whatever you want. You have to use the business credit to match with what the business is doing. So if you have a company or a vehicle or a financing or a car company, then yeah. But if you don't, you can't just go buying cars, at the auction if that's not really what your business is. You still have to use that business credit card for your actual business expenses and needs that go along with your business. Okay, let's see. So Dontel, we're not talking about getting funding or business credit today. This is strictly for LLCs, to learn about LLCs, what they are, things like that. And then we also just put Joy's information in the comments. We put her email. Catherine, I'm gonna need you to redo that. So can you put her information, because everything is all scrambled together. Can you put her website by itself, her email by itself, and the phone number, so it's not all running together? Thank you. Okay, Winsley says, started a business in my name 13 years ago. If I started a business state, issued a repayment notice, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm expected to repay the state, even though I still get paid from LLC. How will it work once I switch to LLC with the state be? Okay, Winsley, that's a lot. We're not going to answer that here. On this channel, you have a lot going on, honey. I'm not going to read that whole paragraph right now. So you might want to book a consultation with myself or Joy. I also put my booking link in the comments for me too, Catherine. Thank you. Appreciate you so much. Let me go up because we do have a couple more questions. Okay, so Dontel says, should I start an LLC or a corporation for a clothing or e-commerce company? I'll let you answer that, Joy.
If you're starting a business, then yes, you need to have an LLC or a corporation. Doesn't matter what kind of business you're starting, you need an entity to start that business. So yes.
Okay, that's her nutshell thing. Because remember, on this channel, as professionals, we don't know you all personally. So we really can't get into what you should be doing and what you should be doing with your companies, because we don't know you. We don't know enough information. You get what I'm saying? So it's no real way to say, should you set up a formal LLC or a corporation just because you're saying it's a clothing or e-commerce company? You get what I'm saying? So it's certain things. It's a reason why you set up an LLC. It's the reason why you set up a corporation. But there's questions in between there that we ask you as a business owner to kind of determine which entity you should kind of go into.
Oh, so he was asking which entity he should form?
Right.
Oh,
okay. Should I start an LLC or a corporation for a clothing company?
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like, me, I don't like to get into that because I don't know what their what their goals is. So I tell some people, if you know you are a multi-million-dollar company, you know you have a multi-million-dollar idea, right? And you know that you want to have investors or have stock options or a board, then you don't know. I tell them, then an LLC may not be the best setup for them. In that case, they may need to be a corporation, because if you know you want to have a board member, you know you want to sell stock, those things are not with an LLC.
Correct.
You don't get those with an LLC. So we have to know what your vision is.
Right.
What do you see for your business? Where do you see yourself in 3, 4, 5 years? You guys, when you're starting these businesses, don't think of where you are today. Think of where you want to see yourself. If you see yourself as a multi-million-dollar conglomerate and you want a board and you want to be on the NASDAQ and the stock exchange, you are not going to be an LLC. You get what I'm saying? It's certain things that you have to envision and see. Business is so much bigger than what is portrayed on social media. It's really a business. You have to really be analytical. You have to really think ahead. You have to really have a plan and an action on how you're going to maintain and manage this business.
Right.
And that is the reason why you're setting these things up this way.
Right.
So again, when we're doing these informational, we can't get heavy into your personal topics and what you all are doing individually. You get what I'm saying? As a professional, it would not be professional of either one of us to just say, yeah, go start the LLC tomorrow. But if you have a multi-million-dollar corporation idea, you should not be an LLC. You might want to be a corporation. So these are conversations that you have to know and understand. You have to pay for. You have to pay for help. You have to pay for assistance. Everything is not going to be free. YouTube University, TikTok University is not going to apply to every single one of you. You have to get in with a professional, an attorney, a tax and business strategist that is going to understand, and we can sit down with you and, and map this kind of stuff out.
Right.
Okay, now we got some more questions coming in. So we got 9 minutes. So we're going to take the the question. So let's see. What is the proper setup? So again, black motives. I just kind of said that there's no way to say what's the proper setup for a public speaker. Simply kind of what Joy said. If you know you want to be in business, either you're going to be setting up as an LLC or a corporation. If you want to book a consultation with either one of us, our contact information is in the comments. How can you get funding to kickstart your LLC? Joy, if you want to follow Joy's page on TikTok, Joy, give them your TikTok page as well, too.
I am going to be Joy Hunt, JOIHUNT_ESQ.
Joy gives a lot of information on her TikTok about grants or funding. Mm-hmm. So I also want to be real honest and clear with you as well with business. It takes money to make money. So if you all are literally trying to start and set these companies up with no money, you are setting yourself up for failure. That's not possible. There's no way to start a business with no money. So if you're looking for kickstart funding, yes, there could be startup funding or grant funding, but I'm going to be honest, it's not a lot. It's not a lot out there because when you're talking about funding is lending, loans, right? Credit cards, lines of credit. Banks are not giving you money if they cannot see that you are not making money. So when you're talking about funding, they're going to ask you for 6 to 12 months worth of bank statements. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a dollar made in your business, you're not getting funded. So again, this is something that I talk about to you all the time. As a business, you have to prepare yourself to start, right? You're going to have to make some sacrifices. You can't go to Starbucks every morning.
Right.
You can't go out and eat with the girls. You can't go party and club and kick it this weekend. You're going to have to take that money and set it aside to start the business because there's not a lot of startup business funding. And if it is, it's very limited because there's so many of you all that are applying for these grants and this money. And a lot of you are not going to get picked for it. So the best thing is to plan and to set yourself up and start putting aside money to start your business. But if you go on Joy's page, she shares a lot with different grants, grant opportunities and for startup businesses. Patricia, you are welcome. We appreciate you for joining us as well. Okay, let's get back to the LLC. So, okay, here's a good one. Mika says, which LLC is best? The standard or ability to establish a series? I'm glad somebody asked that question. So, Joy, what would be the reason why somebody would establish a series LLC?
A series LLC is not offered in every state. And okay, a series LLC, I'm not a fan of the series LLC because you're going to lose some of your asset protection in the different. It's like one LLC with like a whole bunch of DBAs underneath them. So
even for real estate, Joy, because I had a client who had a real estate company. He rehabbed properties, and he had like the main company, and then every property that he bought under that, he would put under a new series. So,
but a series is not a separate LLC,
right? No, it's not a separate LLC.
So our pot is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So when we have a lawsuit, we now have all this exposed. So what are you trying to do? If you're trying to protect them, you don't want a tenant to slip and fall and break their neck and then they can get all of the property. So that's why I'm always looking for asset protection because I'm looking for, as an attorney, if you were to get sued, I want you to have the best outcome or pay the least amount. Tax reasons, there may be a different reason why you want to have why you want to set up a series LLC. But I'm not a fan of them. One, for this whole reason, your pie is getting too big. You don't want to have a whole lot of stuff in one pot.
That makes sense. See, and that's why we have the attorney on here today to give you these kind of real gems, because I'm speaking from a tax point, but Joy is speaking from the asset protection, and that's what you need. You need to know both in business to really succeed. So that is a very great question. I'm glad that you asked that. Thank you so much, Mika. I hope that helped kind of what she said. So she would kind of need to know a little more about what you want to do as far as setting that up, or, why you would be considering setting up a series. But I'll just be honest. A lot of people don't do a series, and the few that I have seen do a series, it's been in real estate. So that's a very good answer. So the next client that I have that asks me, do they want to do a series, I'm going to make sure that I refer them to Joy, so that way they can know and understand all of their stuff being round up in that one pot. And that's, like she said, what we don't want. The biggest thing is asset protection.
Correct.
Okay, let's see, because we had a couple of more. I skipped a couple of people. So,
okay.
What happens when you get an LLC? Okay, we answered that one. Okay, I think we went over that one for Tracy, because Tracy put out on 2 rental properties. Do you recommend separate LLCs for each property? So, yep, Joy kind of answered that. Yes, she does, for asset protection.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference and benefits between an LLC and an S Corp? And I've been told it depends on how much your business brings in. Is that correct? Yes, DP. You came in at 1242. So, yes, that is pretty much what Joy was stating. With that, so LLC is not an entity. An S Corp is not an entity within itself. Only entities are an LLC, a corporation, non-for-profit partnership, stuff like that. The S Corporation is the tax advantage. Mm-hmm. Now, you can attach an S Corporation to an LLC or a corporation.
Correct.
But as far as like the benefits, that's exactly what it is. It depends on the business, the income, all of that. So yes, that is true. Informing an LLC, do I actually need... Okay, great. Another good question, Joy. So informing an LLC, do I actually need a virtual mailing or business address? And I think he's saying that versus using a home address.
Okay, so whatever address you put down for your registered agent, if you're going to use yourself and your home address, one, that address is going to be able to be seen online. So if I go to your Secretary of State website, I pull up your information, that address is what's going to be given to me. If that's your home address and you're not worried about someone just rolling up to your house, then use your home address, okay. However, when it comes to business credit, every business needs to have some kind of corporate office. So the biggest issue when you put your home address, when you first start, you're going to need to amend your LLC to update it with the virtual address when it comes time to, setting up business credit. When you walk into the bank isn't going to give you any money and you have a home address. Every business, whether you work from home, you have a huge multi-million-dollar corporation. Great. Where's your corporate office? Okay. You need to have some kind of business address. So if you have to form it without having a virtual address, you can. I would always say update the LLC information once you get a business or virtual address.
Okay. Perfect. Let's see. We answered that one. Which LLC is best? Since getting the LLC, I've been getting several requests for money via the U.S. Post Office, like they are from the state, but wondering if it is common for people to try to scam. So yes, it is very common, Rose, for people to try to scam you. Once you set up your LLC, you'll get all kinds of notifications. Mm-hmm. Yes, all kinds of mail. So yes, be very, very leery. I know I had a letter earlier around here somewhere, but the state of Illinois, like the moment that you all file with the state of Illinois, you'll get like a company telling you that you need to pay like this $75, registration fee or something like that. That's not true, right? So you'll get a lot of companies kind of advertising. So yes, be leery, be mindful. Definitely just don't pay anything or send your money out. Always contact the company, make sure it's valid. But yes, that is very much true. Once you put your registration information, it is public record, like Joy said, which is another reason why we don't recommend using your home address for your businesses, because it is public record. So there are companies that literally do this all day. They just wait for you to set your business up, and they'll start mailing you stuff.
Right.
They know that you all don't know.
No, right.
They pay this and pay that.
Get this certificate. Get this, get this poster up in your break room. Get all this. No.
Right. So like she said, no. So be very careful. That's a great question, she rose. All right, let me answer that one. Okay, we answered that one. Small detail shop owner here in Peoria, Illinois, wanting to get my LLC. I have no employees, it's just me, and I do pretty good, but I want to protect my business and my property. What LLC should I file? I think we kind of went, okay, he just asked that like 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
So what LLC should I file?
Well, there is something called a PLLC. That is going to be a professional LLC. Certain states require people who have a professional license. Like in Texas, if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, you cannot own an LLC for your practice. It has to be a professional LLC. If you're if you have like a psychology degree, like depending on what kind of profession you're in, some states require you to have something called a PLLC, a professional LLC. But if you're just doing a detail shop, you can just get a regular LLC.
Okay. So hopefully, Guine70, that answered your question for you. We also put Joy's information in the comments. I'm also getting ready to upload her contact information to scroll across the screen. So make sure that you take her website and email down as well. You can reach out to her to get that set up properly. I don't know if we can really go into this one, Joy. This person is asking, what is the proper way to set up your trust with your LLC?
Next.
Yeah, that's a long, detailed question.
Right.
Yeah, that's not a one size fit all answer.
Right.
Especially when you're talking about setting up trust.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know if you're McCray, if you're still on or not, but that one is more of a one-on-one conversation that you'll want to have. She wrote, says that's what I've been getting. Yeah, I know. We know because that's what she said. You'll get all the stuff with the employment and everything.
Oh.
Thank you, She Rose. We appreciate you. She said thank you for the great information, Joy.
Oh,
okay. Let's see. Last round of questions, so we are wrapping up. I think I pretty much answered everybody's question for the most part. Let's just go through one more time. If I did not answer your question, maybe just put a comment here now so that I can see and we can go over it before we go ahead and wrap up. I did want to kind of keep this down to an hour. I know Joy, I want to respect her time because we know that I will go over. All right, the last one was the trust setup. So it's an LLC with many umbrellas. Right, Mika, with you're the one that had the question about the Series Llc. So yes, that's what she was saying. It's pretty much an LLC with umbrellas under it. But again, if you want to get specific, you can get that information. You can have a conversation with Joy. Let me put her information on the screen now. Yeah, so we answered everything else. So again, Joy's TikTok is Joy Hunt, JOIHUNT _ESQ. Okay, and we also typed it here in the comment for you as well. And then her booking link and site is her email is info@thefirmcbgroup.com. So I'm getting ready to put that again in the comments as well for you all. So make sure that you are taking, Joy's contact information down. And then again, we will have Joy on again. We are doing this Lunch and Learn series every Wednesday. So right now we are on YouTube. We're in the private group. And then, like I said, I think you guys also have me streaming on my personal page on Facebook. So just make sure that you stay tuned. You stay in the group. We will be letting you know about more information on the next session that we'll do together. And again, make sure that you're following Both of our channels. We're on TikTok again. Joy is Joy Hunt _ESQ. I'm Patrice L. Stewart on TikTok. I'm Patrice L. Stewart on YouTube. Do you have a YouTube channel, Joy?
I do. Joy Lynn Hunt. And then my Instagram is the same as my TikTok. Joy Hunt _ESQ.
Okay. I'm not on Instagram as much, but I do have Instagram as well under Patrice L. Stewart. But y'all know I don't really go on Instagram too much. They block me. They shadow ban me or something. Like every time I get on and try to do a live, it's no sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's always something. But we are wrapping up today. We appreciate all of you all that chimed in and asked your questions. Definitely make sure to reach out to Joy. Joy is a wealth of information. Again, thank you for joining our Lunch and Learn today. And we will see you next week. I'll update you guys on who we're going to be interviewing. We got to get confirmed with that.
All righty.
Thank you, Joy.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye.
You want to be on live? There you go. There you go. There you go.